Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony. Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass. There's a yellow ribbon tied to one of the branches. Light yellow, faded with time. A tiny splash of color in the blackness of the thicket. Hanging from it, a bronze key. It's close enough to the latch up there. One can slide it open and just take it. Surely not a coincidence.
Huh?
I don't know about that. I'm comfortable here. Don't think any sliding would really help right now.
Sorry, fucko. Looks like you're gonna have to go bush diving. Good fucking luck with that. The hawthorn's got a bitch of a bite.
I'm gonna enjoy the sight of you in the bushes out there.
With a loud thud, the old man stands up, pushes the window open, grabs the key from the hawthorn branch, and slides it across the table. The key is brass. Workshop spare is etched into its bow. The old man closes the window and sits back down in silence.
Come on, man. We were just having some fun. Where's the harm in...
I'm tired of listening to your shit. Don't thank me. I don't give two shits about your key.
Didn't even know it was there. Boys.
No idea.
Never even seen it. Someone must have hidden it there before this room became our place.
It could open the door in the kitchen. The blue door. It says workshop spare. Maybe there's a workshop there?
You see a heavy steel door with the key fits the dimple lock. It takes a bit of effort to turn it after all these years, but then the lock clicks. Dust rises before you like mist. A tomb? Haunted by regal spirits from distant ages. No. Smells like engine grease and cut wood. A workshop. Over there, in the corner. Not just any pinball machine. This is the pinnacle of pinball. Cornelius Gordy and the Mountain Goats. It's lit. You can't wait to get your hands on it.
The pinball machine. Gordy's Goats. A classic. A little.
Feels like a lot. Too much to play it again.
Ah, great.
Cornelius Gordy and the Mountain Goats reads the golden lettering on top of the back box. There's a small column of text underneath. The machine is coin operated. Get the game on, Fingerboy. Those flippers are ready. Above the painting of a mustached man climbing a hill, a column reads, inspired by the legend of Cornelius Gordy, taken on the world's tallest peak, Corpus Windy. The Mesk legend holds that when the nation is in danger, heroic Gordy shall return and save his people. The theme of the game is to explore Gordy's climb through the perspective of goats and to ascend to the top of the mountain in a time of trouble. The peak of the mountain is at the top of the playfield. All the balls have small goat icons on them and represent the goats as they race up and down the mountain. Areas around the playfield represents Gordy's climb, places he was said to have camped, which the goats can discover. Get them to the summit. Indeed, think of them as balls. It takes a while to get into a rhythm, but pretty soon you're able to keep 3 goat-faced balls in play with relative ease. Go, go, finger boy.
I feel sorry for the goats. If they only knew the kind of guy old Cornelius really was. The kind of a guy who uses the word savages a lot when recounting his travels. A masked nationalist. An avid huntsman too. He was often photographed in his dining hall, surrounded by wall-mounted hunting trophies from every continent. He also hit his wife and kids, other people's kids too, sometimes pets. Hateful little man. But you seem to be having fun.
Your game is definitely improving. The jolly goats are flying all over the board, and although a few plummet to their deaths, you're never left with less than 3. Suddenly, a special passage leading to the summit slides open at the top of the board. This is where the balls need to go. Maneuvering a goat ball into a position for a perfect hit isn't easy. More fall to their deaths. But finally, the opportunity presents itself. One of them gets through. Tiny hammer shatters something inside the machine. Something glass. The words "pale rupture" light up on the speaker panel, and the machine starts filling with a thick, milky fog. Something's happening.
Congratulations. This is where the game ends. It's a cheap way of getting more money out of the players. A stupid nihilistic finale.
There's so much fog, you can barely see anything. Some is actually leaking out of the machine, and one by one, your goats start slipping, disappearing into the milky nothingness. This can be navigated. The balls leave almost imperceptible disruptions in the fog. Use them to calculate where they hit next. You're down to your last goat, going mostly by sound. Eyes are useless at this point, but that goat is something special. 5 times you snatch him back from the jaws of death. How, if you can't even see it, the last goat plummets into the fog with almost suicidal glee. There goes nothing, finger boy. All these mesmerizing machines, just waiting to be plugged back in and played. Feels like it might jump back to life any moment. The lights illuminating the white-robed woman.
Some kind of inane pinball theme, probably related to Messina during the DeLorean age. The history themes are the worst.
The lieutenant grimaces, looking at the machines.
No, I love it. I love pinball. Who doesn't love pinball? Let's move on.
He doesn't.
You can't fire them up. They are broken. Only that one machine in the main hall works. The Royalist Pinball.
What a dumb name. Royalist Pinball. If they weren't broken, he would kick one of these machines about now. Kim, Pinball, Kitsuragi. Exactly. That's what he's known as. His reputation precedes him.
So now he remembers. Fine, I'm Kim Pinball Kitsuragi, aka the Kimball. You remembered. Congratulations. Wonderful. He only remembers hearing about the pinball. No human being should. It is a game that requires no skill and a childlike affinity to flashing lights and to fantastic, science fiction, and historic romance franchise. It is lame. I am not called Pinball. It was used to taunt me a long time ago, before I became a homicide detective and got my lieutenancy. Fine. I was a juvenile police officer for over 15 years. It's how I started out in the RCM. Once I had to infiltrate a pinball ring, as you do when you're a juvie cop. It was not okay. I needed to become a pinball champion. I trained for 9 months. The job was successful and I was moved out of the juvenile wing to homicide. End of story. That time is over now. I was already a 38-year-old man. It was unbecoming, as was playing pinball.
So that's why he doesn't want to talk to Kuno. trauma and stressor disorder from being a juvie cop.
It's best if you handle the juvenile delinquents. Not only to you, I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi to everyone. Now we really need to continue our sweep of what appears to be a secret path through the whirling.
The door is closed.
Who is it?
This is the police. Can we come?
Come on up. The door is open. I'm drying my hair.
Sounds like it's coming from upstairs somewhere. You could snoop around before going up. This medicine cabinet is full of wares. Sheets of pills, haphazardly stacked, one on top of the other. There's also a toothbrush. It's been used quite a lot, but not for scrubbing blood off towels, or anything else interesting, it seems. Pharmaceuticals line the shelves, sheet upon sheet of pill bottle next to pill bottle. Acetylic acid, APAP, eye drops, blood thinners.
Anything of note?
Pill bottles rattle like bones as you search the cabinet. Paracetamol, histoperidol, something in a foreign language you can't read. Behind them, an unusually shaped nasal spray. Its label reads, Nacra. Nacra, this is used to treat opioid overdoses. Always handy to have around.
Interesting. That's used for diamorphine overdoses.
Among some foreign, probably Messinian or Gotwaldian, marked red blister packs you find. What do you find? This is going to take a little know-how. This medicine cabinet is stocked with drugs. A bright orange bottle with peptide stamped on it, in sunny, happy letters. Jackpot, baby. That's the stuff you're looking for. Your palms begin to sweat just holding that little plastic container. It's speed, man. Just what you were looking for. They call it dextroamphetamine and talk about psychological disorders. But what we're seeing here is some scientifically advanced trucker speed.
Peptide, a euphemism for pharmaceutical amphetamine. Prescription speed.
The fuck are you waiting for? Let's get super fucking preppy. This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo, smooth as ice. There are spots of mud and rain on the outside, even smudges. But the surface of the window is clear from the inside. No chips, no hairline fractures. Following your lead, the lieutenant leans in closer to inspect the surface.
Looks like it, yes.
Just as you look at the flowers, a gust of wind raises them from the roof, picking them up in the air. You catch a single white flower between your fingers. The rest fly off into the wind. It's a Maybell. The young woman looks at the Maybell in your hand. Just a glance, then takes a drag of her cigarette. The lieutenant gives you an acknowledging little nod. The same small, heavy door. No lock in sight.
It must be connected to the room we found behind the kitchen door. Maybe we should go back and take that elevator up.
Welcome to the roof.
Her hair is still slick from the shower. Below her silvery jumpsuit, an athletic young body, built long and lean.
I'm sorry for the mess down there. The cleaning lady hasn't come by in days. I'm beginning to wonder if she ever will. Nice. I don't know about that, officer.
Where the ripe corpse of a man still lies on the ground, spotted with green and purple. The woman doesn't flinch, but there is something in her light brown eyes. A sadness.
Oh yes, legends of room number 1 have made their way around the building. They say a portal to hell has opened in there. I know. That's probably also why the cleaning lady quit.
I'm Kim Kitsuragi. I'm a detective from Precinct 57. I believe you have already met my colleague from Precinct 41.
Have I ever? This is the biggest fan of ostentatious orchestrations I have seen in my life. And I have seen a few. Oh yeah. Life gets hard, but we go on.
The chorus of the 35 single, megaphoning the entire human race, instills you with the fuck it all swagger that prompts one to plow into grannies on your morning stroll.
I can see that. I'm glad all this onward going has brought you to me.
Miss, we are investigating the murder of the man who was hanged. The people responsible have asked us to talk to you.
Huh. I see.
What could she be thinking of? It's hard to say. Her shoulders are relaxed, her eyes on the cigarette.
Clausier Amandou.
Same name that Titus gave you. It sounds Oranese, as does her accent. Her birthmarks also signal Oranje. You don't know why, but Oranese girls tend to come speckled with them.
Right, sir. Vredefort, Republic of Oranje. I guess you could say I am an Oranese expatriate. A bad memory, officer. Of lilacs and lightning. Parks, glass. Duraluminium. Vredefort is a conference city. It's always autumn there. A night. At least it was for me.
What's so bad about that?
Nothing. If you're no longer there. I'm 28. Something stupid. Oranese lit. Oranese literature. It's what I studied at the university. Fear of failure, fear of death, how it sucks to be Oranese. All national literatures are... only the name of the nation changes.
If that's true, then Revacholian lit would fit you like a glove.
Nothing. I do nothing with it. It's not very cool, but what can you do? I'm afraid you can't, officer.
Why is that?
Because it's buried in a sealed plastic bag at an undisclosed location on the coast, along with cash and airline tickets.
Thank you for your candor. Why?
They say so in your tourist brochure. Keep travel documents away from your person when west of the river. Look, officers, I like this place, but I don't want to be stuck wandering the city like a ghost after being robbed of my travel documents. I don't want to become an indentured servant in a brothel on Boogie Street, and I don't want my relatives to pay the ransom. If I were to lie to you, I would come up with a more mainstream name than Clausier Mondu. It's a weird name. Okie dokie.
If any of this made her nervous, it certainly doesn't show in her expression or her movements.
The record. So official. Yeah, it's pretty deluxe. I'm wintering.
How long have you been staying here?
About 4 months. I came in November. Here in the Whirling, here in Martinez, or here in Revachol. Because it's the funkiest building in Martinez. And because all the other buildings are bombed to hell. Thank you. I've put a lot of time and effort into it.
Technically, possession of narcotics is legal in Revachol, but you should still reprimand her.
With money, sir. It's not exactly the anti-star size caboodle I intend for it to be one day, but it's getting there.
The anti-star is, or was, a Vespertine rock and roll star who liked to do drugs. He did so many drugs, he eventually mutated into a corpse.
Comes in handy when you've done too many opioids.
Is that something that happens to you often, miss?
Better safe than sorry. Oh, yes. One of my favorites. It cures many ailments, like not being able to stay up for 36 hours, not being happy. It cures those ailments. It's just a mirrored speed molecule, basically. Very funky. I'm wintering.
How long have you...
About 4 months. Funky town. I did not. Mystery solved then. I kept wondering where it led.
There may be more to this mystery at some later time. She's holding back. Let's make a mental note for now.
Okay. I'm glad someone's had fun.
She's lost in thought. Eyes narrowed. Forehead furrowed.
It is.
The lieutenant makes a note in his notebook. He finds the answer unsatisfying.
Okay.
Watching herself reflected in the bedroom window, tall and sparkling and draped in smoke. She looks at the dried petals in your palm, then lightly touches one with her fingernail. Chipped white polish covers the nail. It's long and sharp, like a mini dagger. The petal crumbles on contact.
Pretty. Looks like a dried maybell. Is that the one you caught? Sambo style? Why was there a flower on the roof? I don't know, officer. Because of the wind? It's a bit early in the morning for rape, isn't it?
She sounds positively buoyant, vivacious, totally unbothered.
Is it? It is evening. Time flies, man. Yeah. I'm gonna go with not raped. I don't want to say that shit about him.
By him, she must mean the victim.
Tell them it's not my style. They'll have to, if they want to jazz up the charges, they'll have to get someone more, rapeable.
By they, she means the Hardy Boys.
Are you saying that you were asked to tell us you were assaulted?
Not explicitly, but I understood what they meant. It wouldn't hurt to spice things up a bit. Some assault and battery. Sexual assault, maybe. It was clear the latter would be spicier. Pretty much.
Warming them.
I'm 89% sure. You know how it is.
Do you?
Maybe you don't know.
There are numerous cigarette burns on those silvery scales. Easy to see now that you're closer.
In conclusion, officer, I'm gonna go with a mild to medium not raped here. I'm sure there is one person in the world who does. I mean, there are so many people. But let me make this clear. The man who was hanged from that tree did not rape me.
The wording, the verbal eye roll. She's almost disgusted with the platitude you served up.
We partied. A lot of partying going on.
From Titus, about her and Titus's relationship. That's where you heard it.
We drank, sir. A lot. For weeks, basically. We had that effect on each other. We made each other drink harder. That's why I liked him.
What else?
Stimulants. Speed also has that effect, making you drink harder. And then drinking harder makes you do more speed. It's quite the combination. We also had sex. A little. The drugs were good enough, and we did enough of them.
How did you two meet?
Downstairs, at the bar. He was on some sort of assignment, a military man, as you probably know. Had a cool, scary scar.
When was this?
A month ago? Something like that. Oh, yes. I have multiple viewpoints. From the roof, out of the bathroom window, in my dreams.
A bitter cringe. It hurts. You look to the lieutenant. He takes a small step closer.
You called us, the RCM.
Yes,
Jackpot.
I made it. And I would appreciate it if you didn't tell everyone. In Martinez, they call it snitching.
Reporting crimes is confidential in Revachol, miss.
I didn't exactly disguise it. I just muffled the mic and nicked the landline a little. With nail clippers. And I diverted some radio fuzz into it. Into the cold wire.
So, she's God's mystery phone cutter.
Did I? Fuck. I didn't mean to. I had no idea what I was doing.
Still, that's pretty clever tampering. Simple and clever. Crossing the lines like that.
Thanks. I don't know, sir. It was stupid. I was drunk, too. I was probably afraid the union was listening in. Locals say they have ears in the wires.
Thank you for making the call, miss. It was the right thing to do.
I didn't want to, sir. But if I hadn't, he'd still be hanging there.
He won't be down there long, miss. We will move the body to the morgue soon.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. Not right now. Later, maybe. I keep seeing him. Like he is now. I can't talk about his... I don't know. Hair?
I know it's difficult, miss. We can return to it later.
He had something to do with the strike. One has been roiling since I got here. Rotten timing. But you probably know all about it.
And his role in this strike was... what?
I think he was in a security detail. He was ex-military. Worked for Wild Pines. And against the Union. We didn't discuss work much, if you know what I mean. But I understood it was dangerous.
And they lynched him for it?
She nods.
Bullet? They shot him too? They stripped his clothes and they shot him?
You mean after they hanged him?
I'm confused, sorry.
So am I. Were you aware that he had also been shot, miss?
Things are starting to go a little over my head here. I thought he was hanged. I was not present when they did it. I don't know what happened. I just know what they told me. And Sylvie, the bartender.
It's hard to know what to think about that answer. She's just tired. Don't push her too much.
They're frequent guests downstairs. They have a booth for union members. They're probably down there now. Over drinks. It's been a long, boring winter. A little, yeah.
Like you partied with the deceased?
No, not as hard.
I'm sorry to have to ask this, but have you had a physical relationship with any of the Hardy Boys?
I have. Which ones, sir? I don't remember precisely. Titus, obviously. But as I said, it's been a long winter.
She breathes a silvery sigh of relief and weariness. The air on the roof feels humid.
Should we head by downstairs, officer? We may have things to discuss there.
She nods. Silvery cigarette fumes disappear into her mouth. She looks back. Time moves slowly. Don't worry. We will protect you from her beauty. We will consult you through the reefs and sounds of her persona. We will see through deceits. You are shielded. You are wise. You are advised. There are muscles on long white bones that line her limbs. just below the silver jumpsuit. Nothing, just time passing. Don't worry, you are not a fool. Anything out of the ordinary and you would be notified. Air moves in your windpipe. Your heart beats. You're a detective. Get back to detecting. The strange moment ends. It was brief, no longer than 2.2 seconds.
Why not? I'll be here until 11 p.m. drinking coffee.
This window.
Looks like we have more to discuss with those so-called Hardy Boys. Half their reasoning just went out the window. Nothing will make them respect the RCM, but it will disrupt the game they prepared for us. We just stripped off one layer of whatever it is. Her decision to not corroborate their story was definitely not part of the plan. What else could she have done? Lie? She saw there was no way to lie and get away with it. If not you, then me. It was a smart move from her. You think so? She seemed forthcoming. Unusually so. Being forthcoming about some things is a good way to obscure other things. The best liars are always forthcoming. Anyway, we should move. I suspect our investigation will bring us back here soon enough.
The man is... The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
All right.
There go those beautiful enamel boots. May they rest in processing. Oh well, in another lifetime.
I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands. I'll take...
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Yeah, why? Just an ordinary...
Hello again, officer.
You're back? Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
A strange coldness comes over you as you look at the world. The waves sway the sloop slowly. That's all. It's on the tip of your tongue. A doubt of sorts already in your head. But it's not fully formed yet. You have to wait and return to this later, once the jamais vu thought is complete.
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late for the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Why, of course. We're talking Duke Out Central. Full swing intraspecies warfare. No, I would say the apes were neutral. On the other hand, those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it. Yes, an acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism. Exacerbated means made worse. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Yes, King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frisell got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean. The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government. It made people overthrow their governments. Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-eastlery communication, telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade. 43 years. Hard to fathom, I know. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby. Good question. What would you have done differently? And I asked you, past-less detective of the citizens' militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
A cold creeps up your spine, reaching its tendrils up your neck, toward the back of your head.
So a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlife, with a technology 50 years ago?
The wind stops, and for a moment, there's silence. The charge dissipates into the dark water. All is quiet on the Martinez inlet. A dog barks. A gunshot echoes off the walls of some distant building. A woman's voice.
There is peace in the heart.
Good hygiene. Really. A very moderate solution to an extreme problem. It's those sort of half measures that doomed the authorities in Grad. When they failed to step up, Mazov and his party stepped in. In this particular case, maybe a more robust state response might have been appropriate. Good question. What would you have done differently? And you would have died, most likely. Not far from here. Maybe even right here, during the beachhead, defending the coast the day the Coalition took the city.
The cold runs down your spine. She gestures toward the waters. The wind stops. A dog barks.
No, almost certainly. The commune would have forced you. Such was the fate of... They are what they are. Who knows? Anyway, enough sentimentality.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. It's quite serious. You should get yourself checked out.
She conveys it in short, cold bursts, trying not to invest too deeply in the condition of this doomed detective, in case he goes down later, souring the entire portfolio.
Well, It's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use.
She nods slowly.
It's an...
She in case he goes down late.
It's not just me, Detective. All of Martinez has placed its chips on your success. I pray we've all bet wisely. Be my guest.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
An ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind. Yes. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. I pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. I can see you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a centrist at heart. A real moralist, no? Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening?
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
A fitting punishment. To be forgotten, if not forgiven. Save a prayer for us in our chateaus on Ozon and in Stella Maris. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery.
While a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washing it clean, lights go up and motor carriages circulate the tracks.
I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it.
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes. An oil fire on the ocean.
Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here. Perhaps my intellectual vanity will be my undoing. Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? Nothing more nor less than the de facto law. Yes, that means not de jure. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, and if those authorities... A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah! This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot, or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 30... This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off.
Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a soaring motion.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabble in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Those days are long behind me. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new. A cultural era. And the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now, wasn't it Guillaume Le Million who said, if you can remember the new, you weren't there?
For some reason, your mind is a veritable repository of Guillaume Le Million lyrics, trivia, and B-sides. But the time to explore this is when you're alone, facing a mirror perhaps. Right now, it would derail the reality lowdown.
Glad to have been of assistance.
This small elevator is dimly lit by a bulb that's been smells of nougat and sweat. Your head brushes up against the ceiling. There is a control panel to your right, and just enough. The maintenance card under the control panel reads, Last maintenance, 10th July, 88. There are large rectangular buttons, monter, descendre, and an international call for emergency assistance. That third one appears to be broken. A small steel plaque reads Halter 800. Halter is a Koningsteiner lift company who went out of business a long time ago. The deep scratches on the floor suggest it was used as a freight elevator for transporting heavy machinery and one man. So this is where they brought 40 pinball machines to fix them up, along long time ago. Everything is covered with dust now. Yes, pinball hasn't enjoyed a heyday for 15 or 20 years. Yes, Martinez North 22 used to be a pinball arcade, a creek. Some dust falls off a shelf, and it has been forgotten. Now there is only one working machine in the main hall. The rest is lost to dust. You can almost see the shape of a man and a woman writhing inside, bathed in drug sweat and dirty linens. Bottles lie around everywhere. You lean closer to the peephole instinctively. I bet they're doing something quite unnatural there. Sensationally unnatural. You clearly see footprints in the downy carpet of dust covering the workshop floor. This is the inside of the barred door you've seen before.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation.
Just like the last time. Don't worry. You are advised. She presses her elbows against her hair brushes her. She presses her hair brushes her shoulders. She presses her hair brushes her shoulders, making the strange moment ends. It was brief.
Yeah? All right. Not my favorite topic, but okay. We partied. A lot.
From Titus. About her and Titus's relationship.
We drank. Stimulants. A little. The drugs were good enough, and downstairs. About a month. Something like that. How about we, change the subject?
You clearly see footprints. The dust has not settled again where these footprints have been made. The displacement in this dusty hell tells a story. Neither the footprints nor the dust speak their secrets, but you know it means that someone has been back here. Large prints, most likely made by boots. The size is hard to determine. Sole could be bigger than vamp. The soles have left a pattern, uniform, horizontal lines. One person has been here. They've gone back and forth. The tips point both ways. The footprints go up the length of the room and back down. That is all they do. The footprints are of one type. They do not congratulate you for correctly recognizing what type they are not. The footprints do not speak. They simply exist here, a product of the dust, just as the footprints outside are a product of the mud and apparently different shoes. The footprints are still there. They have told their story.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
What a shirt. All other shirts pale in comparison to the muscular man with antlers and immense Zweihanders.
Welcome to Helmdal, officer.
The boomboxes wait on the shelves, and your boombox, that gold and amber Harman Waushi, still
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres, even though I don't really like music.
you see rows of
If you don't mind, please put the flashlight away. Some of us have photonic sensitivities. I do appreciate it. Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive. Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise the other night. Some kind of powerful electric vortex hitting the shop, and then moving on.
He shakes his head, slowly.
Hello, hello.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's your like the rest of you. It comes This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are right now. That soap scum smell. It smells like life, at least compared to you. The bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons. The water is only lukewarm, but still comforting, like amniotic fluid. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks, like sad duckies. Now you are alone with your thoughts in the tub, but it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside the tub. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one bath to get rid of that stench. Then, houses along a narrow street, a video rental, darkness on the planet's curvature. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. You see the corpse. Then, houses. The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist skin. bed is still cold from the... The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. The squished little thing has no idea. I know. You should find the gun that shot this bullet. That sounds like something a police detective would do. First, you should learn all you can about this little guy. Then find the gun that shot it and the person that gun belongs to. He used it to kill your victim. Neato. The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. You wouldn't ordinarily have cause to handle jacketed bullets. The citizens' militia uses cast bullets only. Little pebbles of metal loaded from the muzzle, usually in a cartridge. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound. Far away, Lieutenant Kitsuragi is flipping through stations in his Kanema. He is not here examining the bullet with you. He should be. He would find this very intriguing. Mention it to him later when he's here. You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning plan in the addendum. The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall. It's going to be awfully close to the already existing buildings, almost wall to wall, practically integrating them into the youth center. This is either an ominous or cool architectural choice. Hard to say. My money is on cool. Looks like a cubic pyrite. Take the legal documents out of the envelope. There is no loophole. The simple truth is the current residents are going to lose their street access, and for the next 12 to 40 months, their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door. Once the construction starts, it'll probably take a few months, a year maybe, for even the most stubborn occupants to get tired of living like this. After that, they'll sell their property for cheap and move out. Well, you could trick Everard. Get some random people to sign the document. By the time the union boss finds out, your business here will be already concluded. In your hands, you hold 16 Days of Coldest April by Yekatina Dar. The cover image shows a row of concrete apartments above which span a black and white rainbow. Indeed, the book is unusually heavy in your hands, as though the cover were lined with lead. You flip through the book. The pages are thinner than you realized, and the type quite small and tightly set. It's nearly 600 pages long. Real art is dense and difficult. If it didn't feel like you had to wrestle a suicidal bear to get through it, you weren't really reading. The back cover is dominated by a black and white photograph of the author. She can't be much older than her mid-30s in this photograph, and yet, from this cover, the eyes of a sad old woman stare back at you. In cold, detached prose, the author describes a scene from one of the Yugograd riots in the 20s. Youths overturn motor carriages and set trash cans ablaze, while heavily armored guardsmen dash in and disperse them in a flurry of baton blows. The Yugograd riots took place from 27 to 29. Fueled by ethnic unrest and the state's repressive tactics, these events are often seen as marking the end of a brief period of liberalization known as the Yugograd Spring. Like all such periods, it is frequently memorialized in art and literature. As ethnic tensions run wild, a pair of young lovers meet each other on the street. Somehow, in the middle of all the chaos, they manage to lock arms and look into each other's eyes. It would physically hurt you to keep reading, are you sure? They go through a brief and somewhat awkward love affair, and in the end, they betray each other and succumb to the absurdity of Gradian life. The man becomes a lens grinder, completely abandoning his former existence. He toils through the daily drudgery at the Lenka Polyfabricate. Happiness and fulfillment have eluded him his whole life. And in the end, he has nothing to do but dedicate himself to the craft. She spends the next several decades standing at a conveyor in a Sosnovo fish processing plant. The smell of fish guts slowly seeps into her hair and skin, as every single one of her dreams dies, one by one. The memory of their short time spent together tortures the former lovers ceaselessly until the end of their days. Years pass in solitude, their bodies growing ever more decrepit. As life leaves their remains between the soil sheets, their final thoughts are filled with regret. Six crumbling petals rest on your palm. They're white, a bell-shaped crown. Somewhere in central Jamrock, Lieutenant Kitsuragi steps into the public library. Rows of shelves pass on either side. You feel he should be here for this, for in-depth flower analysis. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. You know, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi Discrete, or Axel, or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen the inside of a public toilet. If you knew it was dunked in the toilet before getting chucked into the trash, why are you sniffing it? Torturing your own nose for no reason is not conducive to case cracking, bud. Yeah, turns out your nose doesn't like self-indulgent literal shit huffing. Quelle fucking surprise. Come on, no more. The ledger is going back down, away from your nose now. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary, a title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and The Murder at the Hookah Parlor. even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close, you don't exactly close them so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters RCM. Blue. Blue. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment and something small inside? Light, made of paper or cardboard, or dried flowers perhaps. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. With your hands, U4-sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of paper is not what you end up doing. You squeeze the plastic to slide it open, but nothing happens. Then you bend it some, then crack it. The goddamn thing is stuck. The ledger quivers in your hand. As it shakes, the pages rustle. This pathetic mess suddenly afraid of you for some reason. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy of paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields, but they appear pleasantly vague. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing, all in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copy of paper. It's the ledger you found. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want? AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which, in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition because that's where the action is. Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face. Then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who, at this point, is tending to Burke. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore, can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, who knows, but both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved, which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? One day you may still catch the man with the square gun. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Insufferable dicks. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it is. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum tum tum. At the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, really lame. So anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Stephen was his name. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. It's the ledger you found in the trash. Just relax. The two sides of the board are slightly misaligned, like a drawer that's come off the slides. All you need to do is bend the plastic on your knee, slowly. The slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, without resistance or sound, The two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the zoo in Revachol East. The aquarium costs extra. These let you go there too. Thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum. Apricot flavor, a touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says tutti frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. Looped, round letters in a woman's hand. A young woman in her 20s. There is care, effort, and a smile, you think. Although that is not something you can read from someone's handwriting. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. Outside, you hear the wind howl. A sudden gale blows in from Martinez, flapping street signs and window blinds.
Come outside.
Far away and outside, the reeds hiss with desperation. Step out. It's the ledger you found in the trash. Without resistance or sound, the 2-panel thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling with its smell. A touch of cinnamon. Familiar. A young woman in her... Harry, throw it away, please. No. A merciful wind blows in from the Bay of Revachol, dusting the ground at your feet and raising newspapers far away. You feel the card slipping into it. Now that you're out, let go.
Let go.
Frisson covers your entire body. A feeling of cold, a persistent chill. Your hands shake, holding onto it. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest, down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always, always, always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
There is nothing. Again. Nothing sad, brother. No treachery, just blackout. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below you. That's still there. And the small light that's on, fluttering, somewhere in the basal ganglia. That's me. Blue eyes, that's me. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion. Even in the darkness, he's grasping for it. Still trying to hold on to the great sorrows slipping in the water. Slimy.
The call when you're dead, brother.
Here in the paleo-mammalian cortex, we call it the shadow, because it's always there.
Tell him. Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's unhealthy of them to linger on it so. But as they say, what do you do? It didn't smell nice. It smelled like betrayal.
Bloated corpse of the past resurfacing.
Beautiful. Believe me, stupid ape, its lack of beauty was not the problem.
There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads, no houses, no lights in the windows. It's all on pause. Your name is fuck all.
It certainly ain't Harry. Your name is passed out on the ground, dragged around by one of the other evil apes. They're taking you somewhere.
You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules? No. Someone is breathing on your face now, inspecting your pupils, stupid idiot.
Yes, they're pouring something on you. It's in you. And
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil. Cold water runs down your chin.
Drink. Water. No drink.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself as it pours down your parched throat. The pounding in your head recedes. The darkness parts.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? There was a call on the shortwave. Officer passed out in Martinez. I had a feeling it would be you. I'm glad I got here in time. I don't know. It could have been quite a while. That does sometimes happen.
He replies with such understanding, it's as if the burnt-out ruins of the past were an occupational hazard. Athlete's foot for cops.
I found this next to you. I'll tag along for the rest of the day if you don't mind. My business is concluded anyway. Are you okay to go? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonus.
Yes?